Our hope is that each of you can make a long-term commitment, long-term connections with individuals in this meeting and find ways to continue to improve our city. Find ways to continue to eradicate structural racism, oppression, inequities, and address implicit and explicit bias. My name is Melissa Robinson, and I serve as the 3rd District City Councilwoman for the City of Kansas City. The Mayor, the City Council, the police, members of the Police Commission, and the Office of Community Complaints felt it was important to provide a space to listen, to hear, and to respond to questions. I began organizing this weekend after multiple calls and emails where residents were wanting to be a part of the solution. You want to know, how are we improving policing in Kansas City? There are multiple improvement initiatives. It is important that we are aware and knowledgeable about civil rights and social justice organizations and the work that's been happening pre the civil unrest here in Kansas City. Representatives and leaders of some of these initiatives will take a few moments to share those with us today. We recognize that we're not presenting an exhaustive list, and we are open and available to find ways to amplify everyone's righteous work to improve conditions for African Americans in this city. Right now, I want to take an opportunity to introduce the elected officials who readily joined in unity to host this call. Our Mayor, Quentin Lucas, will be here. Councilman Lee Barnes, Councilwoman Andrea Boo, Councilman Bunch, Councilman Brandon Ellington, Councilman Dan Fowler, Councilwoman Heather Hall, Councilwoman Teresa Lohr, Councilman Kevin McManus, Councilman Kevin O'Neill, Councilwoman Raina Park Shaw, and Councilwoman Catherine Shields. We want to make sure that you take note of the individuals that will be speaking to you today, as well as the panelists that are here, and also connect to their role in Kansas City policing. The mayor, the city council, our speakers today from the organizations that will be representing their work. We will have a Q&A session as a part of this. We're listening, we're hearing, and we're prepared to respond. Police Commissioner Bishop Talbert is also a co-sponsor of this event as well. The Police Commissioner is responsible for the Police Commission. It's a commission of 5. It's responsible for the governance and oversight of the Kansas City Police Department. Also available for questions will be Deputy Chief Oakman from the Kansas City Police Department, as well as Meryl Bennikin, the Director of Office of Community Complaints. So at the end of this, if you have questions for them, make sure that you put those questions in the Q&A box, as well as questions for our speakers that are coming from our civil rights organizations and our social justice organizations in Kansas City. Put those questions in the Q&A box. Do not put them in the chat box. That way we can keep those separate. We have asked speakers to share with us in advance their intention to speak. And so we will be queuing those members who want to give testimony, that want to give solutions so that we can move forward in better Kansas City policing. And so we will be engaging them all throughout the call for them to give voice to this work. If you also have things to share, you can utilize the chat box, and our panelists, our speakers will be looking in the chat box, as well as you can communicate there as well, but please, if you have questions for the end of part of this call, make sure that you put those in the Q&A box. I want to introduce our first panelist, Justice Gatson. We reached out and asked for individuals who are on the protest line, individuals that are in this work day in and day out. We asked her to share with us the source of the pain, the purpose of the protest, the demands of the people, and what are some of the calls to action that she's seeing. Ms. Gatson.
Thank you so much for having me. I really think that this is, really the pivotal time and very important to have this call when we have a president who has turned the lights out and essentially has run into the basement and hidden from us, from the people who are in pain and from the people who are hurting and are really looking for leadership right now in this very moment. All of this is personal to me. I've been organizing since I was 10 years old. Had my first meeting at the city council when I was trying to protest the curfew when I was 12 years old. The same issues with curfews and different things that we have now, we were having then. Lots of issues with African Americans, with Black people being discriminated against. Lots of things with Black drivers currently on the road. We have the vehicle stops report. We've been keeping data for the last 20 years in Missouri that tells us over and over and over again that Black people are stopped at higher rates, exponentially higher rates. I'm talking in the 90% more than our white brothers and sisters. Search more. And we are about, 10.9% of the driving population in Missouri? So let that sink in and you see how that number weighs down on folks. We're getting stopped over and over and over and over again. And we have been fighting for justice against police brutality for a long time. And people would like to say that it doesn't happen here, but that's not true. I'm an organizer. I talk to a lot of people who have had issues with our police department. From the way that they're addressed, from the way that they're spoken to. Black people are spoken to horribly by some of our police officers. The way that some of our police officers interact in our communities, how they treat us is wrong, and it has been wrong. And we've been saying this. We've been saying it for a long, long time. I think, and I really feel in the depths of my soul, that police officers need to be held to a higher standard. We employ them, we pay their salary, we take care of them so that they can do the job that they are supposed to do for us. But a lot of times we have problems in our communities with police. And I really think that it is time that everybody acknowledges that. You know, when people talk about the protesters, some of the protesters are maybe doing some things that people don't agree with, right? You know, and they say, hey, you know, a few protesters will ruin it for everybody. And there's a meme on social media right now that says, well, what will a few bad cops do? And so we have to really start looking at the system, start really understanding why we are where we are, how the policing came about, how we have these systems that oppress us and traumatize us for generations. We're dealing with generational trauma. People are hurting. You know, as a Black woman, as a mother to 3 Black children, when I think about that and what this world is and how we're treated, hurts. Because we want our children to have the best. We want our children to have every experience that any other child has. My teenage son wants to drive to Sonic just to get something, some ice cream, a shake, late night. I can't let him do it. That fear is there that if he gets pulled over, what's gonna happen? Is somebody gonna think that my big teddy bear is a monster? That's the fear we have. You know, and it's beyond time, it's past time for the solutions. My husband, we run a small carpet cleaning business, and I fear when he travels around our states to go to jobs. When I can't get in touch with him, and I'm not the only one, this is the weight that Black mamas and sisters and aunties carry for our men, for our children. It's beyond time we do something real. The photos with people, that's cute. But we have to do something real right now. This is the time. And so really addressing systemic issues that our sister talked about when she came on. She hit it on the head, these systemic issues. We have to address them. We have to peel back the layers, and we have to be ready to be truthful and accept some hard truths. Once we are able to do that, we can work on the solution. We can get to a place where we need to be in this community. But we have got to hold police accountable when they do something wrong, and any official that's supposed to be working for us. And we have to remember that we are the boss. We pay their salaries. We employ them. This is our tax money that goes to fund the things in our city. We have to be fiscally responsible, socially and morally responsible. And when our money isn't spent in the proper way, we need to say something. And when our elected officials aren't doing what they need to do for us, we need to fire them. Fire them. And for the ones who are trying, and for the ones who are really helping, we need to get around them. We need to support them. We need to support their efforts. There are some really good organizations in our city that you can organize with and work with. People who really care about what's happening and want to make a change. I am going to stop right there because I could go on, and I want to give space for other people to talk and for any questions. But I want to say this. If not now, then when? We can lose another one of us to this year. Ryan Stokes' mother, Miss Nairine, nothing can bring her child back. Nothing. But it felt a little good to get some justice. And we needed to work to make sure that what happened to her child never